Welcome to 101 Things I Bet You Didn't Know. Did you guess the name of the missing woman? In 1910, Dorothy Harriet Camille Arnold was a young, 25-year-old socialite in New York City. Her father, Francis, was a perfume importer, and her uncle was Rufus W. Peckham, a Supreme Court justice. She had everything, every advantage a person could desire. The world was at her feet. Little did anyone guess her life, and the lives of those around her, was about to take a strange and disturbing turn. Dorothy was last seen at 11 a.m. on December 12, 1911. When she left the family's mansion at 108 East 79th Street on the Upper East Side of New York City, Dorothy was dressed in a navy blue serge skirt suit with a white Victorian-style neck. Her hair was fashionably styled in a full pompadour. She donned a black velvet hat adorned with blue silk roses, tan gloves, and carried a large black fox muff with white tips. She told her mother, Mary, she was going shopping to buy a dress to wear to her sister Marjorie's upcoming debutante party. Mary offered to join her, but Dorothy said, "No, when I find the gown I want, I will telephone and you can come down and see it." She never called and was never to be seen again. Why would someone with everything to live for vanish without a trace? Dorothy's disappearance has been a mystery since day one, with many theories circulating about her fate. She disappeared without a trace. Was it an accident? Was she kidnapped? Was something more sinister at play? Or had she simply run away to start a new life? It is known that Dorothy was carrying about $25 to $30 in cash. That seems like a pretty insignificant amount of money to shop for a gown for a debutante party, doesn't it? Well, in 1910, that was the equivalent of $830 to $996, almost $1,000 in today's currency. We know from reports that Dorothy walked from her home on 79th Street to the Park and Tilford store at the corner of 5th Avenue and 59th Street. Park and Tilford was an establishment that specialized in imported goods, perfumes, and liquors. There, she charged a half-pound box of chocolates. She continued south to Brentano's bookstore, where she purchased a copy of Engaged Girl Sketches, a book of humorous essays by Emily Calvin Blake. At 27th Street and 5th Avenue, Dorothy ran into a friend, Gladys King. Gladys told investigators that she and Dorothy chatted, and that Dorothy was in a good mood. It was Gladys who told investigators that Dorothy had said she was going to walk through Central Park on her way home. The family became concerned when Dorothy still hadn't called or come home by dinner time. She always called if she was going to be late. However, it was days before they reported to the police that she was missing. Why? You may be wondering. Francis wanted to avoid unnecessary publicity. Instead, he first told his lawyer, who would finally convince him to hire Pinkerton detectives to investigate. Ultimately, the NYPD were brought in, but since they found nothing and there was no evidence of a crime, they appealed to Francis to hold a press conference. Francis finally agreed, and on January 25, 1911, 6 weeks after Dorothy's disappearance, he held a press conference at his office. During that press conference, he offered a $1,000 reward for her return. In today's dollars, that would be about $33,200. Dorothy aspired to be a published author, but her submissions, including the Poinsettia and the Flame, to McClure's magazine had been rejected. After that, she was depressed and expressed fears of going nowhere. She dreamed of living in Greenwich Village, an area in New York known as a vibrant artist community. Unsurprisingly, her father rejected that idea, telling her, "A good writer can write anywhere." Despite the setbacks and rules, Dorothy continued, unsuccessfully, to pursue a writing career. Like many of us, Dorothy had big dreams and faced crushing rejections. Was this longing for freedom what led her to disappear? Some believe she ran away, others think she was murdered, and still others believe her disappearance is linked to something else. Dorothy's fate was never solved. To this day, her disappearance remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in American history. 114 years later, the question, what happened to Dorothy Arnold, still has not been answered, and still stirs debate and contemplations of intrigue. Did you guess Dorothy Arnold? If so, you were right. Over a century later, she remains an enigma. Stay tuned for more unsolved mysteries, and feel free to share your thoughts